Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR. And here's a brand new Halacha for you, and it's for Friday, the 18th day of June. Here we go. Well, it is only about a week and a half now until it is going to be Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, the fast day, which marks, as we explained yesterday, it commemorates, in one of its commemorations, the breaching of the wall outside of Jerusalem when the conquerors were able to break in to eventually later destroy the temple. I want to stop here right now and tell you not exactly a law, but some important thoughts on this. You will hear a lot over the next number of weeks about the morning of the destruction of our temple, and I want you to just get your psyche on right about what this all means. First of all, when God's temple is destroyed, that in itself is reason enough for enormous sadness. The temple where we honored God, where God honored us, that beautiful, glorious building is destroyed. That alone is enough of a reason to have 3 weeks of sadness in the middle of our year. But in addition to that, when the temple was destroyed, the first temple, when it was destroyed, tens of thousands of Jews were killed at that destruction. So we are also mourning the great, great loss of life. At the second temple, it was somewhere around 2 million Jews that were killed, and about another million or so that were sent fleeing from their homes. And so we're talking about things that approach the kinds of sizes of Holocaust type of issues in the scope of death and destruction. That's another reason, of course, that we will forever mark the great sadness of the losing of our temple, both of them. But here's the third thought, which might catch you a little bit by surprise, and it's this. Besides that it's the destruction of God's temple, besides the great loss of Jewish life, which you can never, consider a small thing, of course. But there's a third thing, and it's this. When we had God's temple within us, God's presence was felt within us. Any Jew who walked by the temple would see ongoing miracles 24/7 and would just come to basically see and feel the presence of God. He was in our midst, and He was in our lives, and it affected the way we lived, the way we were in peace and harmony with each other, etc. When the temple was destroyed, then it set into motion this horrible downward spiral where we do not see God's presence in our midst. We don't see those ongoing miracles. We don't feel God in our midst, and we are in disarray. We fight amongst each other. We don't pull together as a people. We are not holy as we should be, etc., etc., etc. That also, and this by the way, sounds too small to introduce it with the words by the way, but by the way, that leads to all of the downward spiral of tragedies. When God is not in our midst, we are not as holy, we don't act as good to each other, we don't feel that we are a godly people, and the downward spiral of never-ending tragedies is upon us. That's the third reason, a very large reason, that we mourn the destruction of the temple. It marks the leaving of God's presence from being noticeable in our midst, and that leads to a terrible downward spiral in our midst. Hence all the tragedies that happened in these times. Therefore, we pray that speedily it will be rebuilt in our days, and that Mashiach Tzidkenu, the Messiah, will arrive, perhaps today, very, very soon, and in our days. And that's what we pray for and work for towards during these 3 weeks. Thanks for logging on. Log on again after Shabbos for more. Bye-bye.